Everybody's saying that Iraq has chemical weapons, biological weapons, gas, and the Israeli army starts distributing gas masks to the entire population, and everybody's getting ready for Armageddon, you know. And then when the sirens went off, and everybody went to Cheder Atum, to the sealed room, and Baruch Hashem, 39 scuds fell and one person died. I mean, that is a complete and total miracle. I don't know if you know who the person who died was. A known, that's right, not a known Epicurus. I mean, a mamish is a story by itself. Wow. It was a known Epicurus who was a Machal Shabbos, who had a sign on his door saying that Mishigar Khan Ochel Chazir, here they eat pig. And one time the stifler Rav said to this person, "You are chayav skila for breaking Shabbos." Not every Tinok Shenishba is ever chayav for breaking, but he said to him, "You are chayav skila," because he was amazing Epicurus. He was the only person who died in that war. I mean, 39 Scud missiles rated corresponding to 39. That's called a wake-up call, if anything. I mean, that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing. He is, I quoted this afternoon in Surah Shlishit, at our lunch, the Medrash of Yasef Shimoni deserves to be heard by everybody. Isaiah chapter 60, Yeshayahu, Perek Samach, Midrash says the year when Ben David is coming.
But I'd like to give the people an amazing thing of Shlomo Carlebach, this is Carlebach Shul.
Just leave it on the table, so they don't disturb it, right?
Good. Yes, please continue.
God's falling.
No, then you said the coach,
oh, the Yalkut Shimoni in Isaiah 60 is the year that Ben David comes, Paras kam, Umayem lichbosh et haaretz. Paras gets up and is spreading to conquer the earth. Lichbosh et hamedinot. And it says that the Melech Arav, Baal Melech Aram, the king of Arabia, goes to the king of Aram. You know that last year the king of Arabia went to Rome, went to the Vatican. It was the first time ever that the guardian of the Islamic side, the king of Aram, met with the king of Aram. The Pope met, the king of Saudi Arabia met with the Pope. The Midrash goes on to say that next, Paras matchil lichbosh medinot. Persia starts conquering countries, and all the nations of the world fall flat on their faces, and Am Yisrael are running around saying, La'an nelech, La'an nelech, where shall we go, where shall we go? It's not right now, I mean, that's at the back of everybody's mind, that if Chas v'Shalom, they were to send nuclear weapons, where would we go? I've spoken to people talking about should we go to USA, to Canada, to Australia, to people. It goes to people, and the Midrash says, Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bonai Lama Tiro, why are you afraid, my children? Why are you afraid? Kol ma she'osisi avorchem, everything I did is all for you. Higia eis geulatchem, the time of your geula has arrived. This was in Yad Shimoni. It was written down 1,000 years ago from Chachamim who lived 2,000 years ago, who had it from Chachamim before them. How did they know that Paras is going to be on the center of the world stage? How did Ezekiel chapter 38, Gog and Magog, look at the lineup of the nations. Meshech, Tuval, Paras, Kush. Who's Meshech? Who knows who Meshech is? Meshech, Moskva, Russia. Meshech. Tuval, what's the capital of Georgia? Right, Tuval, right? What is the basic alignment in the world right now? Russia and Iran. That's what it was, Russia and Iran. How did Ezekiel know that 2,500 years ago? HaKadosh Baruch Hu had it all worked out. Kush is with them. Kush, Pakistan, Kush, Somalia, Africa. the same concept as Kush. It's all, they knew it all, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing it only to prepare us for Geula. And all you've got to do is to embrace the Geula with, every time you're in that wretched slave subway of New York City, and you can't do anything else, you can still just whisper a few words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and read a few lines of Mishnah or some Sefer, and that is already Geula. It's all we have to do. It's mitzvahs, ma'asim, Torah, and Torah, and it's all just a big show for us to do tshuva. Because actually, I mean, if you think about it, you know, in 1992, we're threatening this whole dissection of Israel. In 25 years since, they've not succeeded. I mean, they've not succeeded, and they could have done much less if we had actually stood up. You know, in 2005, just before Tisha B'Av, I think it was the 5th of Av, there was the media said there was 250,000 people at the Kotel. The people who were said there was 500,000 people there. That was a couple of days before the expulsions from Gush Katif. Now, Sharon's police state had 40,000 police and soldiers down in Gush Katif ready to evict 10,000 people. If all of those, if it was only a quarter, if it was not 500,000, 250,000 people who came to the Kotel that day, if they had gone down en masse to Gush Katif, there was nothing that Sharon's police and soldiers would have been able to do. They would not have done anything, and the whole expulsion would have been stopped. And it was only a lack of courage by the people that enabled the expulsion to take place. It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided if the people had shown merits. And now, that's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe, before he left the world, he held up his hands, he said, I did everything I can, it's now up to you. And we have to take the initiatives now. And first and foremost, in Emunah, to have no shame to talk to people about Emunah. Everybody, everywhere, every conceivable place to talk about what Emunah is, what the Torah is, what the Torah teaches in the simplest possible term. We now have got to get up and, I mean, if Klifat Ishmael is rising up in this way to try and dominate the world, this is the death throes. This is mamish the death throes of Ishmael. It's the end. The end has come. They know that in their guts. That's why they're prepared. I mean, why would they blow themselves up? Because they know that they're going to they can reach the end anyway, so they couldn't care. They might as well go out in a blaze of glory. That is why, and it's a simon, it's a sign that they're at the end.
This Yalkut Shimoni that you're mentioning.
Too much questions. Why don't we sing a little bit? I have another question.
So I'm telling you, bring me a keyboard.
You can't have the keyboard because it can't be amplified to the neighbors, and then we can't have any more events here. So this Yalkut Shimoni, the Rebbe, when it came out, he says that he related it to Saddam Hussein coming and attacking Kuwait, and then Aram was America, and it was this whole thing. So now you're saying that this is happening again, and it's the same Yalkut Shimoni again being retranslated again for us to understand it again.
Chaim left the world in 1935, and before he left the world, he told his Talmidim, this is written down in biographies of Prophet Chaim, he told them that the war of Gog and Magog had already started, and it was going to be in 3 stages, of which the First World War was stage 1. In the First World War, if you include the Russian Civil War in 1919 to 1922, it's a huge catastrophe for Jews. More than 1 million Jews lost their lives in the Russian war alone. It was like nobody speaks about it. Everybody focused on the Holocaust, but it was a huge attack on, and it was included a physical military attack by Germany on Israel. And Chofetz Chaim said that the second stage was coming. He died in 1935. That was already after the Nazis came to power. And it's obviously the Second World War, the Holocaust. There's going to be another stage after that. And what we see is that what in the Navi appears to be at face value a sort of narrative of a quick war, actually the various leaders are misgalgel, they're incarnated to schlep this war out, because it's all coming to soften up the hearts of